she still is our MPP, unfortunately. But it was a liberal, pro-liberal area, and if you see, and if you go back just a few years back in the last elections, she used to win with the margin of 7,500 votes out of total of 52,000, 53,000 votes, and she used to get around 8,000 or 9,000 leads, and in last elections, the last elections, the PC party got only 800 votes, when Mr. Carmichael used to be not the Carmichael, John, yeah, they used to be the MPP, they used to be the candidate in the PC party, but they used to get around a few hundred votes. And even after having a lot of campaign, they used to put a lot of time and efforts out of it. But this time, the PC candidate have got quite good numbers, and he just lost with 181 votes. 181 votes. So the Catherine Min, she knew she's gonna lose it, and it was a bonus to her that she again became MPP of our area, and that is a clear picture that how the people have been heading all this sex ed curriculum, because the people living in this area, we are around 37,000 inhabitants in this small area, and I think it's the most populated in North America. And our schools are also most populated schools in this area, whole North America. We used to, but traditionally, the more people living here, they immigrants from the Asian countries. In Asian, we are very quite dedicated to our children, and we put a lot of time and our efforts and our money just to give a good product to our children. We moved over here quite many years ago, and we used to enjoy the liberty and the freedom over here, what we never been experienced in our home country. And this was the reason why we choose this country in many other areas. Like I myself have been in Dubai for 26 years. My whole family used to stay there. Dubai is very good for earning the money, you know it. It's a rich, it's one of the richest area in the world where we can make any good money out of it, and we can afford to have a good and good life, and we can enjoy the life much better than what we do over here. But why we came here? Because there we still don't find the freedom what we used to enjoy over here. We don't get the proper rights and our civil, freedom. But here, the Canada and the Canadians, they are a good and beautiful people, beautiful country. But because of the Catholic, and honestly speaking, we feel we've been betrayed. We feel we've been, again put into the hardship and again put into the slavery. And if you see the history in 2010, what happened? Why the Dalton McGuinty have taken this sex ed curriculum in 3 days' time, or maybe 2.5 days' time? Why it had happened? So the same thing, same people are involved except the Dalton. The Catherine became the premier. She used her power, and she tried to put the same Ben Levin's architected this sex ed curriculum, and she has been put again on top of the Ontarian parents. I think this is not only the misuse of the power, but again, I think this is very much unfair to the parents, because the parents are the ultimate decision maker for the kids. If I belong to some particular community, I would like my children to be brought up in a way what I want them to be. I don't want anyone, even to my brother, he cannot decide for my children. I'm the one who should decide what my children to be, and how they behave, how they speak, how they go, and what they learn. I send them to the school with the trust that my children will be safe, in a safe hands. But ultimately what we see in the schools happening, I've been in the school council for quite many years, and I realized that even the parents and the school council has been put into the dark. We never come to know what actually has been happening with our kids and what they've been taught. When we went to the teachers' resources online, which Catherine Mills government have been provided through the TDSB and through so many other their partners, what do you call it? There is a particular name for that kind of partners, the co-partners, and it was not eye-opening, it was eye-closing, because I could not even watch them. they're so much naked, and it was kind of porn sites. And they've been teaching these porn sites, and they've been encouraging our children to go on to their porn sites, and they learn so many things which we've been trying our best to avoid them, not to go over there. But these people were encouraging them. So if I see myself, I cannot spend more than a few hours with my kids. But they are in the school for 7 years, 7 hours a day. So the schools, they spend more time in the school than they spend in the house, in our home. So school have got more chance to give them the right kind of education. But unfortunately, they don't learn what they want to learn. And they are learning what they're supposed not to learn. That's my message, and I think the parents has to be given the right to decide for their children, not anyone else. Thank you.
And you know, this experience that in Don Valley West here in Kathleen Wynn's own writing that Abdul Rauf described, where the conservative candidate or the PC candidate used to get hundreds of votes, and now it was many thousands because of sex ed being an issue, and lost by only 181 votes to Kathleen Wynn. This happened across the province. And this is why Doug Ford and the PCs now have a super majority. So he cannot break this promise, absolutely not.
I just wanted to mention, well, to win a majority government, you need to win Toronto. Toronto is highly ethnic. And when you look at the photos of people who protested against the Win Sex Ed, it's a lot of the ethnic people, the Muslims, the Chinese, Southeast Asians, etc. So Kathleen Wynn, she went from a majority to, well, the Liberals went from a majority government to a party that has no official party status in the legislature. Why? They lost the immigrant vote because of the sex ed issue.
Did you opt out your children from these sex education?
Yeah, I have got 3 kids, and I took them off from the public school for a couple of years until they were in the elementary school. And then just a year ago, I moved my 2 sons back in middle school. Because in elementary school, I cannot trust them, and I want them to have a proper foundation built up, and then they can go to the school, so they know what is right and what is wrong, what should be learned, what should not be learned, and they should be able to tell me back what they have learned in the school. Because in the elementary, the children are too young, they don't understand, and they will never be able to tell us correctly that what they have learned in the school. So my younger daughter, who's in grade 2, she still goes to the private school, and I pay around $500 a month, which is again a burden to the parent. And I used to pay around $1,500 a month when I sent my 3 kids to the private school. Honestly speaking, sometimes we didn't have the money to spend on our own, but we had to pay for their schooling because of this Kathleen Wynn's issue, and because of this sex ed curriculum. Because we can afford to lose the money. We could afford to not to eat, not to dress, not to do whatever, but we cannot afford to lose our children. And this was the only reason we had sent our children to the private school. And it's not me only. There are so many people. They went on even the welfare. They took the food from the food bank, but they didn't send their children to the public school just because of that. That they don't want them to learn what Kathleen Wynn wants them to learn.
Do you think current parents being aware of this curriculum is still there, so it's still being taught?
Generally speaking, most of the parents, after the Doug Ford's government, they feel that that sex ed curriculum has gone. As soon as the Doug Ford came in the power, they feel that now everything is okay, everything is smooth. Now they can send their kids back to the school. Yeah. I know one school, private school, is on verge of the closure just because the people have taken their kids out. As soon as Doug Ford came into the power, they took their kids out from their private school, they put them back into the public school. If you see the attendance and the population in the school, you will find as soon as the Doug Ford came, especially in our area, the public school have got more students. So because the children have been moved. But ultimately what is happening, what we hear from the schools, that nothing has been changed. Nothing has been changed, but I think it's an illusion. So Doug Ford must address this issue.
that's why we're demanding that Lisa Thompson resign. You know, maybe not everybody in Ontario, but I actually support a very robust publicly funded school system. And I think what happened under the Kathleen Wynne government, where children were, basically parents just yanked their kids out left, right, and center because of this curriculum. And if you don't believe me, just ask the former chair of the Toronto District Public School Board, who said that a lot of there was a 1 year where over 100 staff from the DCSB, whatever, had to be laid off because, and he said in part it was because of the Kathleen Wynne Sex Act. My point being is, we should not be driving kids away from school. We should be encouraging people to enroll their kids in a school that's competitive and also that provides parental authority. It doesn't teach the Lisa Thompson sex ed. And just to highlight one thing, I know you mentioned that you put your kids back in a middle school. One thing that is actually sort of different under the Lisa Thompson sex ed is that in her sex ed curriculum, actually in fact, you can be taught these topics like gender identity at an even younger age than is in the Kathleen Wynne sex ed. And that was confirmed by the Assistant Deputy Minister Beckett when he said material from another grade can be taught in another grade, but in an appropriate, age-appropriate way. And that's obviously very quite subjective.
And I'd like to comment something that Abdul Rauf mentioned too. He talked about parents that he knows who went on welfare, who were on welfare and took their grocery money to pay for private school and went with less. It went through financial hardship. That demonstrates the cruelty of the liberal establishment that are imposing this radical sex program on families and on children who don't want it, and it's putting them, far from being inclusive, it's making them suffer tremendously. It's really very cruel.